Namaskar to all of you all present here. And everything has been told by Pratibha, so I'll not talk about myself because this session is not for me, it's for all of us, because we'll be learning one-on-one from each other, right? So as this session is all about communication, it's about interaction, it's about face-to-face discussion on topics, it's about words, it's about wordplay, and it's about the body language. We have so many words coming together. So when we talk about coming together, how do you just present that? It's about when you look at people, something comes to your mind. Within fraction of seconds, something clicks here. And that is what we call idea, which is generated in your brain. And the moment that idea is generated, you try to articulate it. You put it in words, and then you put it on page, or you put it through your mouth. That is where people are lacking. And that is where the need of this communication skills is required. It's not about English, people. It's not about any specific language. We're talking about in general. When you want to communicate with someone, you need to know how to take hold of that particular subject, take hold of that particular language. It can be Hindi, it can be any language. It can English, obviously we are going to talk about that because this webinar is all about English. So without ado, I'll share the screen with you and we'll be talking along with that screen. I'll be sharing and we'll be discussing along with it, right? So I'm going ahead with this. Yeah. As the title is there in front of you of the webinar, that is hacks to improve your communication skills. So what comes to your mind the moment I click on this particular next slide? So what comes to your mind? You have so many jumbled words here. So what comes to your mind when this word bubble is there in front of you? Anybody from the audience can speak, please. There are hundreds of words in front of you. So which word you are able to see and what comes to your mind when you see that specific term?
Communication.
Communication.
Okay. I can see talk, I can see community, I can see word, I can see known, I can see contact. I have so many words in front of me. So all of them tell one single thing, that when we see such words, an idea is generated in our brain, and that idea forces us to speak or write something which is something new for every one of us. That is, we are curious to know something new. And with that, I switch to the next one. That is, this is the agenda. One of my participants asked that what would be the agenda of today's meeting. So this is the agenda. We'll be talking about these specific pointers which have been mentioned in front of you. That is, the very first slide will be talking about our voice is a tool. What comes to your mind when we say our voice is a tool? Please, you can put it in the chat box so that we can easily answer to the what comes to your mind when it comes to our voice is a tool. Then only I'll be switching to the next slide and I'll start with my discussion. Vinita is requesting it to speak in both the languages. आपके दिमाग में क्या आता है जब आप सबसे पहला पॉइंट देखते हैं our voice is a tool? हमारी आवाज हमारे लिए किस तरह से काम करती है? Source of communication, very nice. Okay, I'll switch to the next slide. Just see, when we talk about our voice as a tool, this is the most handiest and the most easiest thing which is available in your toolbox. And when we talk about communication, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Your presentation skills force you that people will follow you. How much you are presenting and in what way you are presenting, how you are putting the words in front of them. When we listen to a music, every music is not that which appeal to our senses, right? All music cannot be liked by us. There is specific strings being played which we enjoy. Why? क्योंकि वो हमें हर सुर हमें खुशी नहीं देता, because वो हमारे लिए likable नहीं है. We don't enjoy that. We choose specific music according to our likability. Similarly, when we see something in front of us, what you are putting it and how you're putting it. So here, how you're putting is more important, because the moment you understand the urgency of what you have chosen and how you're going to portray in front of the public, people need to follow you. People need to understand what you want to say. Simple words, you need to be on the same page when you're talking to somebody. If you're conveying something to somebody, if the person is not able to understand, they'll not be able to relate with you. And if you're not able to, people are not able to relate with you, they'll not listen to you. This is going to happen with me also. If I'm not able to relate with you and you're not able to come in on the same page with me, you might leave my webinar, right? So let's move to the next thing. When I say our voice is a tool here, it is, if not used effectively, then it's of no use. People will not listen to you. So when we talk about communication here, it simply means common between two people or more. You need at least two people to communicate between. If you want to just convey your idea, you need two people at least. And when something is common in between, just like our today, we have something in common, that we all want to learn something new through this webinar. So this subject becomes the base for our communication. Similarly, when we move ahead in life, you need to have that stepping stone. You need to have a reason to move ahead. So exchanging of ideas, exchanging of facts, exchanging of emotions, exchanging of one-to-one discussions. All this happens when you are pro with communication. You are able to understand and regenerate the idea which has been conveyed to you through the other person. That is what we call communication in simple terms, right? Anybody wants to add something to this? Yeah, from the audience, anybody wants to add something to this? Okay, I'll move
Yes,
ahead.
ma'am. I would like to share. My name is Abhijit.
Yeah.
One thing which I got from you and would like to correct is that communication is one of the most important tool where people of like mind attitude, they come together, come from whatever background, not south, east, west. Once they come over there, they'll understand that person seems like me or he thinks like me. That is what is one of the advantage of coming together.
To some extent, I'll agree with you, but I'll take my 20% from my side because I'll add something to this as Abhijit. Yes, like-minded people will always come together, but
Yes.
The art of expression, the way you influence people will definitely, they'll also follow you. Absolutely. If you have that art, yeah. So Absolutely. That is what we call about communication. And today's session is on that only. How you're going to influence others, that they start following you and they start listening you. At times it happens. That is what I'm saying. I do not know Tamil. I do not know other. I just know Hindi and English. But still, if I get a chance to listen to somebody, and if I'm talking about Carnatic music, I do not understand. But I understand one thing is that the emotions and the love being shown in that music, I would sit and listen to it. Why? Because that music has influenced such an extent that I will sit and listen to it. That is, I hope I'm able to justify my point, Abhijit.
Yes, sir.
Great. Thank you so much. See, you can see it in front of you, being expressive. That is, when we talk about speech, obviously. As Abhijit also just now spoke, and it was, yeah, I was influenced the way he spoke. I like the way he expressed his thing. So the speech matters. How much clear you are when you're speaking, how impressive you are, how expressive when it comes to speaking. It's not just the body language. Whatever you're speaking out from your mouth, you need to focus on words. You need to just chew your words before uttering them. That is very much vital because people go by your words. They focus on what you are presenting, right? So articulation of the idea or thought, as we started with the session itself, I said that whatever is going on here, something, whatever you see, your eyes see something, and you start that very moment, the idea clicks here. The message is already here in the brain. And the moment you articulate, you put the idea on the page or through words from your mouth, uttered from your mouth, that becomes the generation of the idea, which is being the output part, right? So see, I've seen a number of times that people say you need to use excellent vocabulary when it comes to presentation. I have a bit of idea other than this, that you do not have to focus on specific, that you need to have specific high rated words, you need to talk. No, it's all about how much people are able to understand the effectiveness of your words at that point where you're using that explanation or you're talking about any statement. It's about the exact word being used. It can be in a simple form. Because if people will not be able to connect with you, they will not listen to you. That is the utmost thing, right? Let's take an example. This Red Cross doesn't mean that it is wrong that we need to avoid this because it is cliche. It is the old beaten route. Let's discuss. I like, we use it so commonly. So rather than that, if you are asked to talk about your likings and dislikings, then we generally, I enjoy singing because you genuinely enjoy singing. And then I'm really into sports. I'm a big fan on writing poetry. There are various, this makes it so expressive and effective that people will sit and listen to you. They'll enjoy your company, whether you are speaking, you are dancing, you are going with the rhythm of that particular uh, room where you are filming. That is the most important thing. Now, this is one of the most important aspect which people do not focus. That is the art of rhetoric. This particular has been given by Aristotle, this theory which Aristotle brought and introduced. I have amalgamated this with my communication because this becomes the base for any communication skill. How? Simply, art of rhetoric means art of expression. It can be verbal, it can be through hands, that is the gestures or body language, which we say. So you need to focus on art of expression. And if you have that art of expression, definitely you know how to present yourself. You have the command over your communication skills. That serves as the base for any communication, right? So it's simply, as in the initial, when we started with the session, one of my participant here said that how you persuade people. You were very right. I don't know the name of that person from the audience who was that, but that was perfectly stated, that how you persuade your listeners when you're presenting in front of them, whether they are ready to listen to you, whether they are ready to go ahead with you, one-on-one, step-by-step, along with you to the whole journey. From that, it can be an hour, it can be the whole life, right? So it's not about, people change, don't forget, situations change. One thing remains with you is your memory, your good thoughts, your words. Nobody can take it from you. Your experiences, they cannot be taken from you. So always remember, the art of expression will always help you to persuade people. And that is what we are going to talk about in this particular, the art of rhetoric, right? So when we talk about communication, it is about three things. One, speaker. Just like in this session, I am the one who's speaking. I have audience in front of me. They become the receiver of that message. And I have the subject that serves as the base for the communication between two people, as I told initially also. So when we talk about these three aspects, that becomes the base for any communication. And you need to have a hold of all these three, because before moving ahead with the speech, audience is prepared to listen to you. They do not know what you're going to talk about, right? It is hidden. It is behind the curtain. They are coming to your session. They are sitting and they're listening to you. Whatever you're going to convey to them, they'll sit and listen until and unless they have a question. And that question is, then it is a win-win situation for the speaker also, because at least you are bringing inquisitiveness in their minds, that they are ready to ask questions. So for that, you need to have that subject in such an elaborative way, it should be conveyed in such a simple way that they are able to relate with it. They're able to convey their idea. They're able to understand why you are actually talking, why they want to listen to you. That if they are able to sit on that chair for an hour or so, that this simply means that you were able to glue them to that chair through your words. And that is the most important thing, which is lacking at times. It's not just the presentation on the board we are writing. It's not you are dressed up wonderfully, won't work wonders for you. मैं हिंदी में एक स्टेटमेंट बोलना चाहूंगी कि जब मुंह खोला तो क्या खोला और क्या बोला. That is, when you speak, you are looking amazing. You are well dressed. You are looking amazingly beautiful. You are smart. But the moment you open your mouth, everything goes in vain because you do not know how to put it. So this communication skills work wonders for people if they know it. And if they do not know it, then they are lacking in it. And for that, you need to practice a lot. We are moving step by step to the thing for which we gathered here today. See, as you can see in this slide, The rhetorical triangle explained. In this, simple things need to focus. Ethos, logos, or pathos, right? So here, ethos is the speaker, that is me. Logos is the subject, that is the content which you're about to convey. And pathos are the audience, which they'll be receivers, the retainers, what you are conveying. One thing kept in mind that whatever I'm conveying here in this session, or anybody who's conveying, you do not carry everything with you in your brain. Specific terms go with you. But I'm dead sure that by the end of this session, you'll be carrying this particular term with you. That is the art of rhetoric. You'll never forget this, because we have something in common. That is, we are trying to learn something new. So whatever new strikes, that very moment, your neurons work. So here, these three things need to be kept in mind for any communication skills to have hold on, right? See, this has been very common when it comes to college education or in school. School, we do not go with this particular presentation, the picture being displayed in front of you, the poster which is there in front of you. We do not show this to our students in school. But yes, we make sure that if whosoever is educating in or in postgrad or undergrad students, we make sure that we are discussing about that, be it any subject. Nowadays, it's so common, so generic in all the subjects that we discuss about this particular. Can anybody talk about this? I'll give a chance to the participants to talk. Please, anyone, please raise your hand if you want to talk about this, you want to discuss about it. What do you understand by this?
Ma'am, I would like to speak over here.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes, Abhijit.
Yeah, now when you show this picture over here, it connected me to my good old days when we were students and we were so interested in all these things. So thankfully you have done it, ma'am. Now, source, I would say that is the sender of the message. This is a person who has some ideas, that's what you have said, ideas to be shared with somebody else who knows or may not know what exactly I want to send. And then in the middle, there are two things over here. A source, encoding channel, this is one part, and other part is decoding and receiver. Two things are over here. Source is as usual, yeah, a person who sends a letter or a mail to somebody else, which is the message, which has the idea. Encoding is he wants to put the ideas in the way that he should be able to understand. It should not be a chaos that if I send him, then अरे ये क्या भेजा है? कुछ पता नहीं. जरा explain करो. It should not be that. Channel, we may have social media, letter, which very few people use, especially in rural areas, and maybe other channels also others can contribute. Decoding something which once a person receives the mail, he starts understanding, अरे हाँ, इसको ये बोलना है यहाँ पे. His subject is biology, or his subject is maybe geometry, or his subject is somewhere economic development. तो वो समझता है, and the receiver understands, and then he tries to put in the ideas which he can send it to the sender back. That is the source back.
Wow, wonderfully explained. Thank you so much, Abhijit. You made it so easy for me to explain it. Half of the task has been done. So I'll do the rest of it. Thank you so much, Abhijit, once again. Yeah. As you can see the picture in front of you, source, encoding, channel, decoding, receiver, and feedback. I'll take the example of an email. Source is from where the idea or the message will be generated. That is the sender of the message. So we are talking about the email, mail which is to be conveyed to the person, that is the receiver. So here two things, initially the starting point and the end point. Starting is the source, that is the sender. Receiver becomes the end point. Now in between what happens, we'll be talking about that. Source, there is an idea in the mind. Supposingly he has to send a mail regarding the product, right? So what he'll do is he'll draft an email and he'll articulate that idea, the message which is here. Source will generate the idea in the mind and put the message here, encode it. He'll put the message on the, he'll type the message, draft the message, then he'll send it, he'll click, and the message will go through a channel. Channel will be the email, the internet, through internet. That is, let's take an example of Google, Gmail. So it will go through Gmail. That becomes the channel. And then again, the message reaches here. This message, which has been channelized, the source who has sent will be channelized directly, and it will be received by the receiver. The moment he receives it, before that, he will decode the message here in the brain, because he'll start reading it. The moment he reads it, he'll understand, okay, this is regarding an inquiry related to the product. The moment he understands that, he will try to put that message and answer or reply to the message being sent by the sender. The moment he converts that idea or decodes that message on the paper and he drafts a mail, and when he enters that or click that button for the send, the moment it is being received by the source, that becomes the feedback. The moment it reaches the source, here the positions are flipped. Initially, there was a sender and a receiver, and now the receiver becomes the sender, and the sender becomes the receiver, and receiver becomes the sender. One thing in between is common is that when we are sending the feedback, always remember that the moment it is received, it is very much required whether the sender has conveyed the message in a proper way through the right channel, and it has been conveyed it in a proper, streamlined in a proper way, and whether the receiver is able to take it in the same way what the idea was conveyed. And if the receiver has taken it the right way, obviously the feedback has to be in a positive side. But if the feedback is not positive, this simply shows that the sender was not able to put it in the right way. It can be the reason, or channel can be the reason. That is, the choice of channel might not be right, or the receiver was not initially told or called or just spoken about that particular aspect for which the mail was generated. So you need to keep in mind that whenever you are drafting a message, verbally, telephonically, face to face, or through mails, you need to have a clear idea, perception being at the initial level itself. Because if the idea generated at the initial level is not right, then when it is received will not be right. One more thing, you need to be empathetic when you are conveying your idea. Let's take an example. If I'm talking in English and I have all the audience from Hindi medium background, supposingly, then I am not in a win-win situation. मैं अपनी चीजों को कन्वे नहीं कर पाऊंगी क्योंकि हिंदी ऑडियंस को इंग्लिश समझ नहीं आएगी. And what am I doing is I'm just killing the interest of the people. So what do I have to do is I have to convey my idea in Hindi. So here empathy works. That is getting in the shoes of others and realizing the same thing what they are undergoing, right? So here the task of the sender needs to be very clear when he's sending the message. So remember, again, the art of rhetoric, the art of expression works here. That is the sender, subject, and the receiver. Any questions related to this? One more thing, people, when we talk about this whole of the process, one thing which is very common, and it is there on the picture also, that is the context remains the same. As Abhijit at the initial level told, that you need to be on the same page. You need to communicate you need to talk about similar things, like-minded people. So here, two people are communicating, and the context remains the basic aspect of their communication. You need to be on the same page. You need to have that common idea behind why you are communicating with each other. That serves the purpose, right? Now, I'm going to share a small clip, a video, and I hope just sit back and watch this, and we'll talk regarding this later on. So I'm just going to play this. You were able to see the video, I think so, right? What did you understand by this particular video? Can anybody tell me or talk about that?
Yeah, I would like to say that don't be afraid of asking questions or requesting somebody else. That's very important. Request something. Either you'll get or not get, but convincing is there. Am I on the list? Can you remove it from the list? Oh, yeah, sure, no problem. So that is what we can understand over here.
Very true, because without asking, you'll not get the answer. Similarly, in our session, nobody is talking. So it's a one-sided discussion is going on. I'm the one who's talking, and I have Pratika and Abhijit. And at times I have Suparna who's speaking. So without asking, you'll never get an answer to the question. Whatever is there in your mind, it is very much necessary, because communication starts with talking. And you need to have that words with you to frame properly in sentences so that you can talk about it. Because if you're not conveying your idea, whatever is going in your mind, you'll not be able to convey it. And at the moment you're not able to convey it, a lot of confusion is there, and that gives birth to misunderstandings always.
Ma'am, we should not afraid while speaking, right?
Yeah. Never. At least with me, never. And when it comes to a personal front also, I make sure that as I'm an educator, I've made sure that whenever I'm talking to somebody, I give a chance to the other person to speak. I have so many things in my mind. For that, you need to really work beforehand. You need to prepare your things beforehand. At times, it happens when you are there in the situation, you are present physically, but you're not mentally present. Reason being is because you're not able to bring in that connectivity with the speaker. That is lacking. And that is one of the reasons why people are not able to communicate when they are there on the stage also. When they are speaking, they're presenting in front of the audience, youth audience. They are not able to present. But if I ask my students to present it in the class, they are easily able to convey their idea. Reason being, because they are meeting them every day. That 35 students, they are meeting them every day. So they treat them as a family. That इन्हें तो मेरे बारे में सब पता है, तो क्या फर्क पड़ता है, मैं इनके सामने present कर सकती हूँ. That thing which pops up in the mind, that I know them. So that comfort zone has to come, and that comes with the inquisitiveness you have in your minds. Because the moment you are ready to answer questions, you are ready to present also. What makes a good communicator? These four major aspects makes a good communicator. That is an active listener, because that is what we were seeing in the video also. You need to be active listener. It's not simply that you are sitting straight like this with your backbone straight. No, that doesn't mean active listener. It is simply that you are concentrating, you're focusing on words being conveyed by the presenter, whatever the person is saying. I'll take an example. Supposing if I say, okay, I've got a lottery of 50,000 rupees. My husband's ears will just pop up. Oh, okay, she's got a lottery. Now we have money with us. Active listener. And at that very moment, if I say, "Acha, bazaar se jaake sabzi leke aani hai," then you'll not pay heed to that. This is so lame. I know it's very layman set of example I've taken, but that is relatable. You can understand how we are not able to listen to what people are saying, because you're not paying attention or not giving heed to what the other person is saying. You need to lend your ears, and that makes an active listener. That serves as the very first thing when it comes to communication. A very good presenter needs to be less of speaking, more of listening. Less good listeners are always best speakers. Always remember that. Good speakers, no, they'll not always be good listeners. You need to be a listener first, then only you can be speakers, because you have ideas generated out of it. Second, an active presenter. It is relatable. It is directly related to the first point. If you are an active listener, automatically you will be effectively presenting, because you have a lot of words in your dictionary now. You have different topics to talk about. You have ideas related to what you are going to convey. And the best part is, when you want to be an effective presenter, you need to jot down points in your paper. Make sure whatever the other person is saying and whatever appeals to your mind, make sure you're putting down, jotting it down on the pad. Then only you'll have ideas related to what the idea was conveyed, right? A quick thinker. You have been, initially when we started with the session, there was a word bubble. I asked you what comes to your mind when you see these words. That is what I was talking about. A quick thinker. The moment you see something in front of your eyes, what comes to your mind, that makes you a quick thinker. You are able to you see the word, you see the situation, and that very moment, the ideas multiply. And that is only possible when you read a lot, when you see things, when you observe things a lot, when you focus on various ideas a lot. And the most importantly, what you see around yourself, that is very, very vital when it comes to observing. Now, when you have all these three things, a win-win negotiator, that is, you are able to influence people. Whatever you are conveying, if people nod on that, yes, I'm with you, then it is a win-win negotiator. Let's take an example. When politicians speak, at times we get influenced so much that you're okay with whatever the person is saying. Why? Because you are ready to accept what the other person is saying. He has appealed to your senses, to your brain in such a way, he has hijacked your ideas, hijacked your brain, that yes, whatever that person is saying is correct. Reason being, because he's such a good negotiator. He knows how to negotiate with you through words, through communication. Plus, one more thing. When we talk about sales and marketing, this is the technique which works because it is a word play. You play with words. And that is, I'll give credit to all the teaching fraternity. They play with words, and that's how they influence the students. I'll take a small example here. At times it happens, students say, "Nahi mama, ye to ma'am ne bataya hai, aap galat bol rahe ho, she's right." That is the negotiator. That is a win-win situation. Mama can be wrong, father can be wrong, the teacher cannot be wrong. That is the influence which a teacher has on students. Similarly, if you want to be a good negotiator, you need to be a good listener. And if you're a good listener, then definitely you'll be a good writer and a reader. Along with that, a good speaker. Now, I have one more clip for you to watch. Just see this, and I hope you'll be able to understand what I want to convey through this and what will I convey after this, right? Okay.
Excuse me? Hello? Hey! I'm a human being. If you don't want to help, at least say so.
Hello, I am deaf. I may have trouble comprehending you. Thank you for your consideration. Usually, I'd read your lips to understand you.
Oh.
If you like, you could let this convert your speech to text for me.
Okay. Could you tell me how to get started?
Want to try again?
Attention passengers, all is well. Thank you.
Low power shutting down.
Oh, yay!
Attention passengers, line 4 is delayed for 1 hour. Thank you.
Okay, so this was a small video which has given a lot of cues to us to talk about. as whatever we have talked in the past 1 hour, it has shown everything in this particular video. It was the lack of communication, clear picture of lack of communication or failure of communication. Why? Because one was the mode of communication was missing, because the other person or the lady or was not able to convey because he or she was deaf. Secondly, the gadget which was available, it was lost its battery at the last stage. That was the dead point of the communication. Initially, when they started, you have the train coming, passing by, then you have the announcements being made. These serve as the noise. It can be the internal or the external noises which are created in the middle of the communication. Then you have, there were lots of loopholes we can see. Then when she was conveying it through the gestures, that is the paralanguage. She was conveying it through their gestures. Even when she was able to convey it, finally, both were on the same page, but there was a delay of the communication. And that failure of communication resulted that both were sitting on the chair and waiting because the train has passed. So this time, which duration which it took was too long to convey the idea. And it simply shows that it shouldn't take that long that you have missed your train. Your train is not, I'm not talking about the literal train. That is, the message conveyed was took so much time that communication failure was visible. That you lost your client or you missed the chance of expressing your idea is what was being conveyed in this particular video. I hope you are able to convince yourselves with this video. You are able to relate yourself with this video. Whatever we have discussed up till now, किसी को कोई कहीं पे भी परेशानी हो रही है, please पूछिए, so that we can continue with the latter part.
Ma'am, I would like to add something to this.
Yes,
Like,
sure.
girl's face was hidden and she was able to convey her ideas effectively through her own expressions.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
That
you know,
was the
during
most, yeah, please continue,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, no worries, ma'am. So during the time of pandemic, our faces were, you know, covered with the face covers. We used to wear the face covers, but we used to, you know, portray our ideas or maybe express our ideas effectively through our communication.
Yeah.
So I can relate that video in this context.
Very true. Because the person who was standing next to that girl was able to see could read the words through lip sync, and that was not visible, that was not available. Very nice point put here. So yes, before moving ahead with the hacks of communication skills, we are here to understand what is more important when it comes to life skills. So your life skills are related to your English communication skills, your presentation skills, your soft skills, or how you're conveying your idea. So you have a lot of things. I'm not going to read word by word. I'll just take specific terms from these. In the very first one, you have English communication skills. Why they are important? Because every facet of life, every part of life is dealt with communicating with one another. And here, why we are focusing on English? Because it is the universal language. People communicate very easily if you know English. Let's take an example of Kerala. We do not know languages being spoken there, but people, even a rickshaw driver knows how to speak English. Broken English, they do not focus on complete sentences. They focus on that we know some words and the other person will be able to understand. So here it is all about convenience. How much convenient you are, conveniently, or the comfort zone you have taken. But why we are focusing on communication skills here in English? Because we are going to use it professionally. They are using it for their sake, but we'll be putting it for our profession, and our profession is to deal with people, be it the marketplace, be it your office, be it that is the workplace, or with your students, with your colleagues. You need to have that grasp, hold, or grip of your own language. And here we have this particular language, that is English. Then, how do you determine that your proficiency in language will make you successful? How do you determine that? It is only possible when you are able to convey your idea. That is how you get to know that you're proficient with your language. Because when you're conveying your things to the people, and if they're not able to understand, this simply means even if you have the fluency, you're not able to relate with the people because the lack of words or the sort of words which people want to hear, they are not able to understand, right? Then poor communication skills lead to frequent misunderstandings and frustration. That is what we were seeing in the video. We saw in the video also that there was a lack of communication, poor communication due to situation. Still, there were misunderstandings. And by the end, when it was solved, it was too late to understand, right? So you need to have hold on what you are doing, how you're presenting yourself, and to so focus on your overall aspects of speaking, reading, writing, and above all, listening. That is more important. You have various ways of conveying your ideas. It is through verbal exchange, that is through words, written media, which have books, websites, magazines through which you can read or write, then visually through eyes, which you can see, that is graphs, charts, or maps, and or non-verbally, that is body language, gestures, pitch of tone, pitch of voice, that is whatever I'm conveying. Here we are talking about gestures, pitch of voice, tone. It is a part of paralanguage, right? That is when we talk about linguistics. So it is paralanguage. The intonation, sounds, tone, the rise and fall of dipping of the sound, all this comes under paralanguage. All of these means of communication skills are essential when we talk about soft skills. Why it is called soft skills? Because that makes you how you are conveying, that makes you refine how you are doing and what you are saying. You are putting words word by word and making a complete sentence. People will see you as a whole package. How you are selling yourself in the market through your words, how you're convincing people through your personality. So your persona and your personality both works for you in a positive way when you have hold of all these various aspects, right? So importance of communication. Here, what is the importance of communication? Majorly in various facets of life, there is various phases or parts of life you have. It helps in the workplace because you're able to communicate with your colleagues, even with the bosses, even with the people, those who are there at the workplace, especially the colleagues. Improves career prospects. Why? Because majorly whenever you are a click away, you see that everything is being given in English. You have various languages to choose. You do not have Hindi with you because people do not understand Hindi, but English is there when you have the choices. So improves career prospects. It gives you a chance to convey what you want and you're looking for future endeavor. So obviously you're looking for career to be made. So this will help you. Even if you're looking for career in English, it will help you. Helps learn new skills because this is one of the basic mode of communication. Increase in employment prospects because, as I said, one thing remains universal and that is English. So it helps you, it serves as the base for any communication which takes place between two people or more. Now, this is one of the charm of today's session, that is LSRW. Here, listening tops the list. Why? As we have been again and again saying that the more you listen, the more you'll be able to speak because you have a lot of words to speak. And then when you're able to speak, obviously, you'll be able to put it on the page. Before that, when you're reading it, you're learning new words. It is a bridge. It is a ladder. You're stepping one by one. So initially, if we go from downwards, when you're writing something, you just do not write it you're just simply putting it on page. You have some logic behind it. So if you're generating that logic in the mind that why am I writing this? Then you're trying to find words. And when you have words with you, you're trying to frame sentences. When you're framing sentences, that will convert into a whole paragraph. That paragraph will have a central idea. Uski wo jo theme tayar hogi, that is the base, which will be for the whole of the paragraph, that serves as a topic of discussion for anyone and everyone who is present in that room. So listening, speaking, reading, writing, you need to have this formula with you to move ahead in life because that makes you a good speaker, a good listener, a good writer, and a good reader. But the problem arises that again people will say, ये तो हमें पता है, आप हमें ये बताइए कि हम अच्छा बोलना कैसे सीखेंगे या हम जल्दी से इंग्लिश बिना कोई मेहनत के कैसे सीखेंगे. Yes, we'll be moving to that also. Now, when I say this, hacks to improve your English communication skills, every thinker, every big writer or author you have around you, you might have seen that one thing was common between them and is common today also, and that is the ability to communicate through words, through gestures, through body language, through paralanguage. Everything, whatever comes in when we talk about communication, you need to be very simple while putting it. You are complicating yourself by simply not conveying your idea the way you want. And the moment you're not able to convey your idea, people will not listen to you. They'll simply leave that place. And that is the worst part. So 6 major hacks to improve your English communication skills are: just slow down, easy to articulate. Let's take an example. If you want to convey something, एक तरीका ये है, अच्छा मैं जल्दी से बोल रही हूँ. I want to say, no, you're not going to add this, no. You'll say, I want to say something, slow down. Do not go in a hush-hush way. Do not hurry with what you want to convey. Yes, at the initial level, it might sound boring for others, but you are forgetting one thing, that you do not have the hold on speech. You do not have the hold on words. If you are going slow, your brain is getting aligned with your tongue. And then the idea which is generated in your brain, you are able to bring in the words. And gradually, you'll be able to convey. It is a short wave. I have tried a number of times. Second, trying, learning, and understanding sentences instead of words. What we do is, most of the time people have told that, okay, open the dictionary, find out the word, and you understand the meaning. Just understanding the meaning won't do. You need to convert that word into a sentence. Usage of the word is very much required. If you understand and learn the sentence, you understand the usage of that particular sentence in the word, the word in the sentence, and definitely in future, when you're talking to somebody, you'll be able to relate to the same situation and you'll be using that word in other sentence. So make it a purposeful thing, purposefully using those words in the situations which are there in front of you, so that it becomes easy for you to make yourself easy when you're conveying your idea. Third, be a good listener. Again and again, I'm forcing on this, because half of our lives, that is when we talk, 72% of our life, we listen. We need to listen. We need to focus on that. Very less of we listen and more we speak, more we show, rather than simply listening. So we need to focus more on listening, less on speaking, and more on reading and writing. Yeah. Ask questions and let others speak. When somebody is speaking, let that person complete. One, you'll be able to understand what the other person is saying. Secondly, when the other person is done with the speaking, you have a lot of words which that person has spoken. Then you have ideas related to it. I'll again take an example. When for competitive exams or for any job interview, before that you have GE, group discussion. Why it is there? Here you're conveying the idea. You are letting the other person speak so that you can continue from there where the person has stopped. So you need to have questions with you so that you're able to pose and let others speak. Finally, when you have hold of all these, you need to have hold of your body language, your gestures, postures, eye contact, where eye contact is the major aspect. It tops the list when we talk about body language, along with your verbal skills. Because when you are having eye contact with your audience, you are generating that that curiosity in the minds of people, that interest is being shown. When you're not looking at the audience, people will not be able to connect with you. So eye contact becomes the base for any connection. So you need to have that when you're conveying your things to the audience. Now, when we talk about hacks to improve your communication skills, listening, watching, reading. This is what we have been doing, that you watch movie along with the subtitles, you're reading magazines, you're reading storybooks, you're reading small paragraphs. But we do not focus on one thing, and that is the fourth point. It's here. I'm talking about this particular point. That is focus on one dialect. If you want to learn some language, you need to focus on one. You cannot speak both the versions. American as well as British. No, because when you're focusing on both the languages, then you're not landing anywhere. Learn either of the one, and I would suggest go with British English because we Indians are more prone to this, and it is easy for us because we have been taught like that. So it would be easy for you to begin with British, and then you can any day go for American English. Now, 3 vital aspects to improve the way of understanding English for better communication. This is the hack, actually. Input, output, study. That is, you read, you watch, you listen. Anything. People say open the book and sit and listen, or sit and read. Listen to any music. Just sit and watch movie along with the subtitles. Can we watch? If I do not like science fiction, I'll never watch science fiction. If somebody is forcing me to watch that, I'll sit for some time and then I'll not have interest in it. I'll not focus on that. So always remember one thing: when you want to focus on words, make sure that particular thing is giving happiness to you, that is generating interest in your mind and heart. Then only you will be able to connect with whatever is going in front of you. So always remember, when we need to learn something. If you want to learn something, you need to input things which generate interest, and that should make you happy, so that that good content will always help you to move ahead. One. Secondly, when you're done with the input aspect, it is here, stored here in your brain. Now comes the second part, output. Obviously, whatever is in here needs to come out. Writing and speaking. We are writing and we are speaking. Speaking becomes one of the easiest way, because आप जिनके साथ comfortable होते हैं, आप किसी भी तरीके से बात कर पाते हैं, because again, you know that that person is not going to judge you. And that's the reason why you're not able to present in front of public, in front of audience, huge audience on stage, because you know that the people, those who are there, they'll judge you. And just because of that judgment thing, you do not want to be a participant of that particular competition or that meeting. So make sure whatever you are speaking before that, write it. One. Secondly, take small paragraphs rather than taking the whole of the book. Whatever you have input, that is whatever you have taken or read or watched or listened, make sure you are writing it down. Just take the gist of it and put it summary. That is just write the summary, gist of the whole of the content which you were reading or writing, reading or watching. So make sure you're putting it on a paper, and then you'll see that where you're making mistake, where you're making spelling mistakes. And then when you've written, make sure you're reading it aloud. Stand and just read it, and then plus record it. Then you realize that pronunciation problem is also there. Wrong words have been pronounced. Spellings are already, you have made mistakes with the spellings. Along with that, the gist is missing. The central idea is missing. This will be the very first step. But when you make it a practice, you'll realize that you are a pro now. You're able to relate with whatever is being shown in front of you. And then gradually you'll realize that in a span of 6 months, you'll be enjoying whatever is going in front of you, be it any language. It's not just English. We're talking about communication related to any language, right? So finally, the third thing, the third step, that is study. We do not focus or analyze our weaknesses. If I stammer, supposingly, if I'm saying something and I stammer, then I'll not practice. Or at times it happens that the words are heavy. Then in words, if the name is Shushma, at times it is Susma, pronunciation problem. You are not able to speak sure. So your phonetics work. So analyze your weakness, accept it. Acceptance come here. Accept it कि मुझे ये नहीं आता है. अब उस पे मैं काम कैसे करूं? मैंने example लिया है, focus on pronunciation. Now, problem is, if I'm going American or British both ways, then some say schedule, some say schedule. I focus on schedule because I'm an Indian. But if somebody else is using schedule, I'll make sure that the other person is speaking or writing completely in American, and it's fine. So focus on the pronunciation part, whether you are being right or wrong. And one more easy way, and it's free of cost. Just you have to pay for the internet. Go on Google search, put the word on it, there is a pronunciation button where the lady or the computerized machine is going to speak for you. Just click on that and you can put both pronunciation in American and British. You'll be able to see that both ways that particular machine is speaking, auto-generated thing. And you'll be able to realize that where you are making mistake. You have lots of apps available on your Play Store. You can just download and practice. These are the easiest ways to convey your ideas to people. And most importantly, you need to convince yourself that you are doing in a right way. The problem arises that we do not accept what is wrong in us. हमें कभी कोई टोकता है तो हम क्या कहते हैं, उनको तो बड़ा अच्छे से आता होगा जो वो हमें कह रहे हैं. The moment you say this, you are a loser. And if you say, सही तो कहा, मेरे को ये आता नहीं है, I should practice more. So try to accept what people, at times people will offend, you feel offended. They do it intentionally also. It's okay. Let them do it. You just take the good part of it. And this will make you one more thing. You'll become neutral to such things. You'll become more sensitive. You'll become more sensible. And you'll have more of patience now. You listen to people more then. If somebody is offending you, don't get offended. People will do this because that is what they enjoy. You take the good part of it. That somebody has told you something, okay, I'll learn from this. Let's move to the next slide. Now, in order to speak a language fluently, this is the last thing when we talk about learning and practice. See, people, when we see a lot of things in front of us, everything cannot be learned. Again, I'll say, look for things which you appreciate, you like, you enjoy initially when you're learning something. When you're done with the learning part, now come. But for that, from the grassroots level, when we start from school itself, two things which I'll say is lacking is our education system. Yes, I'll blame that. And at times teachers also, because they do not have proper knowledge regarding the same. And third thing is, even parents are not educated to that level that they are not able to make their children understand what is going around them. Yes, it is a collaborative thing. Even students, and lastly, the student is also not ready to learn. So I'm not blaming anyone, but I'm blaming everyone. All the things are coming together. So it is a collaborative thing. So let's improve it together. So learning, creating the logic, why this is being done, how it is done, and in which way it can be improved. One, the structure of the language, you need to understand how the sentence has to be written, why it is written, why these words have come together. That is the grammar part. You need to understand the grammar part. And I'll put one more thing here. At times I've seen people making mistake while writing the spelling of grammar itself. I've seen so many posters pasted on the wall and they write tuitions provided for grammar, and the spelling is GRAMMER. You can see, you can just judge from here itself where we are going, where we are landing. So here the problem arises, we do not do our homework well before putting things. So make sure that whenever you are conveying something, you are ready with it. Be dead tired by the end of the day, but just give your best shot, because that is the day when you are showing it to people. And for that, you need to do your homework well in advance. Vocabulary, again, I'm saying you do not have to be Shashi Tharoor, but you need to be what you are. If I'm Anjila, then I have to be Anjila. I don't want to be Shashi Tharoor. If I be, then it is a privilege, but I can try his words. I can look for meaning. Yes, I do. Whenever he says something or he conveys any idea, I make sure I look for Google, because the words which he uses are just out of this world. They're out of box, because he has studied a lot. He has learned a lot. He has practiced a lot. So that's the reason why people follow him. Now, finally, you have practice. When you practice, reading is no longer a priority. Because जब आप practice करने लग जाते हो, आपको आदत हो जाती है. When it becomes a habit, you enjoy communicating things, and you get actively participate in communication with people, not just for the sake of it, but for that moment itself. You enjoy doing it. And two easy ways are that you cannot talk to anyone and everyone like that. So just choose people where they will not judge you. It is one-to-one chat. You can talk, sit with your friend and talk with that person that will discuss on this particular topic. Or you can go with group calls, or you can just like group discussions, so that ideas are generated, put it on the paper and work on it. It is a taxing job. Mind my words, it is a taxing job, but it is a short way, because any language which is learned needs practice. You cannot climb the ladder in one go. It takes time, because you become breathless when you walk continuously. So just retain your breath with you, and it is only possible when you have worked very hard the smart way. So this is the smart way. Start with your friends, start with your family, start with that one person who will not judge you. Even if the people are judging you, let it be. Start. This is the moment, because when you speak, you talk, you discuss, you communicate, you learn. And when you're preparing for any competitive exam, or you're preparing for any discussions or job interviews, make sure you are watching a lot of such content, or you are reading a lot related to that particular company's profile, or related to people, those who are working for that company at the managerial or management level. You need to have knowledge about everyone, so that it becomes easy for you when you are discussing about your topic. This is a small, I've taken a small passage, because we do not have that much of time. So I've taken the small passage. I'll just read it to you, or anybody from the audience wants to read, can read, please. I would appreciate if you do that. Okay,
Yes,
Satyam, go ahead with it. Yes,
I'll start. Unseen reading comprehension. Read the passage carefully and answer the questions. Nobody can argue that the acquisition of knowledge is more fun and easier with computers. The mere activity of touching and exploring this device constitutes an enjoyable task for a child. This, accompanied by the relaxing attitude and software interactivity, usually contributes to a better grasp of new knowledge. At a higher educational level, the availability of digital books, simulators, and other academic materials provide the student with an ever accessible source of information that otherwise would not be at hand.
Wow, I would like to just simply clap for him, because he took the initiative. Among so many of us, he took the initiative to speak about it. So here I'll just say one thing, that Satyam, in tidbits, there were some loopholes, but we can always work on that. But the most important thing is that you took the initiative and you were not scared to speak. One most important part is that when we are speaking, we need to give pause. We need to stop on where comma, full stop, expressions are important. So here, nobody can argue that the acquisition of knowledge is more fun and easier with computers. The mere activity of touching and exploring this device constitutes an enjoyable task for a child. This, accompanied by the relaxing attitude and software interactivity, usually contributes to a better grasp of new knowledge. At a high level, at a higher educational level, the availability of digital books, simulators, and other academic materials provide the student with an ever accessible source of information that otherwise would not be at hand. So this was one of the passage which we have it in front of us, and there are few words which have been highlighted. Whenever you are looking for any reading comprehension or any passage, wherever you see, make sure you bring out the hard words from that passage, because they serve as the base for any passage. If you know the meaning of such words, then you'll be able to bring out the idea which is there in the whole of this passage. I'll switch to the next. See, there are 4 questions given. What do you think should be the title for this particular passage? I would expect that you just put it in the chat box, or you can simply raise your hand. We can listen. You can speak. What title can you give this? The passage is in front of you.
Ma'am,
Yeah, please.
ma'am, use of technology, modern technology, and
Yes, we can go with
should
that.
have,
Yes, we
ma'am,
can go
use
with that.
of, ma'am, we should have the acquisition of knowledge, with more knowledge.
Yes,
should
we can go
expect
with that. Very nice.
So, ma'am, according to me, or in my opinion, the suitable title would be digitization of knowledge.
Wow. Wonderful. Wonderful. I
Ma'am,
would
can
appreciate. Yeah, please.
Thank
please.
you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dharmika, ma'am. Thank you
Yes,
so much.
you're welcome.
ma'am, technology in education?
Yes, we can go with that. We can go with that. It is the simplified version of what Dharmika ma'am stated. So yes, we can go with this also. See, why we are focusing on the title, because the moment you see the title, that generates the idea. One. Secondly, that in a way pushes you to read the passage. It talks about the central idea in the title itself. So make sure whenever you are giving a title to any passage, it should speak for the whole of the passage. Now I'll switch to the next question.
Anjila, I would like to add here that Abhijit has commented a title, Digital Friendly Tools.
Wow, this is also very nice. Yeah, again, it is talking about, but as we are talking about education, we are talking about the higher educational level or school level education or college level education. So if that would have been added to it, would have been more easy to understand for people. Thank you so much, Abhijit. You have been an active participant. Thank you so much. Obviously, you'll be finding the meanings by yourself. I have just taken this question because I'm not going to ask you to just find out the hard words. Hard words have already been found for you. You simply have to find out the meaning of those words. If you want, you can take the screenshot of this particular passage and just try to find the meaning of these words by yourself by the end of this session. Then you have tried to pronounce the highlighted words. That is also, again, it is self practice. You can just do it at your place. When you are sitting idle, just look for the words. Why I have focused on the highlighted words here, not just this passage. Whenever you're reading anything, just underline that word, find out the meaning, find out the usage of that word in a sentence, try to memorize it, try to relate to the situations, and try to use it in future also. And again, make sure that whenever you are highlighting those words, you're underlining those words, you are trying to learn the spelling, one. Secondly, how it is pronounced. Make sure you're doing it in the right way. And finally, what's the central idea of the passage? Passage. It is again, as initially Dharmika ma'am and Abhijit stated, and even Suparna ma'am stated, that they have given the title that speaks for the whole of the passage. Still, what do you understand by the whole of this? Can anybody give the gist of the passage? Because the passage is very...
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah. I would like to go first.
Yeah,
so, ma'am, this passage implies that we are just one click away from any information, and each and every information is available to us in form of technology. And definitely we can access it anywhere across the globe. And as far as our opinions are concerned, so this, this technology has made it very feasible for us to access any sort of information, even for the school children as well. So they can also access it from anywhere. And apart from this, it really allows you to indulge in the transparent system of technology. Like, when you are trying to create anything from the from your own part, so the technology will also respond to you equally. So that is the main crux of this passage.
Very nice. Thank you so much, Dharmika ma'am. I have a question for people present here. That do you think that this technology has killed, I'll say simply killed, the actual human? It has replaced the actual human.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, it has replaced human labor up to several extents, or up to a maximum extents, just because we can see that Japan is obsessed with the ideas of robots. So India is also trying to bring or incorporate this technology, and also the jobs of like truck driver or maybe some other jobs which are done by the people at metro stations will be replaced by the technologies. Like there will be robots deployed everywhere. The other day I went to this fair which was organized at Pragati Maidan, this expo fair. So they gave me the central idea about robots. So India is also trying to incorporate this technology by 2026 for sure. And of course these technology will replace the human jobs.
Wow.
Yeah,
this is the best part which is going to happen, because we have lots of labor, young generations, just full of that warm blood in them, and where will we put them? I don't know. They'll become buttons, I think so. Which will be of no use, I think so.
Yes,
so you need, that is the irony actually, that we are moving towards digitization and still we are not focusing on the human feature which is still existing.
And
because
digitization has also helped in detecting and reducing the cyber crimes as well. Just because we have observed over the years that cyber crimes have gained momentum. So they have helped us, to track the location of several people online. So I think they are much more useful in that case as well.
Yes. It has both the pros and cons, because when we talk about cybercrime, the security has to be increased. So I'll just put one thing here is that, as Dharmika ma'am stated, one more thing in addition to that is that when we talk about cybercrime or security, the codes are broken first, and then that is when we talk about security. Before generating that security, people try to, they're not able to secure their codes itself. They look for cracking the codes, and till then the security is that is of no use, because it already becomes obsolete.
Yes,
so we are running towards such a phase of life where we won't be able to catch hold of what is going around us.
Yes, ma'am.
So
yes.
Everything is robotic here, and let's not do this to our brains. And that's one of the important reasons why we are communicating through this hybrid mode also. So make sure you're talking to people. Let yourself feel that you are still human.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I keep teaching such topics to my students, so I know I'm much familiar about these ideas. That's why.
Very true. There is a question in the chat box. Somebody wrote that I have taken just 5 points. The 6th one was the dialect. Focus on one single dialect. That is the 6th hack when we talk about.
Yes,
so, yes. Now, just a second. This is the solution to what I brought in front of you. That is, computers make learning easier, learning made easy, user-friendly computer learning. That is what I took, because I was focusing on the simplest aspect of what comes when it comes to reading a passage. Then these are the meanings related to the same. And then third one was the self-practice. You have to pronounce the words, speak by yourself, and practice. And the central idea, which I was on the same page as Dharmika ma'am, education for students through computers has become more easily accessible, and it's just a click away. That was the central idea of the whole of this passage. So happy learning and all the best. Now I'll just stop sharing the screen, and we can have one-on-one if you want to ask any question.
Ma'am, first of all, I would like to thank you for organizing such an intriguing webinar, and it was extremely informative indeed for all of us. Some of us, I'm not talking about myself, but some of us were completely clueless about this earlier, but now the concepts have edged on our minds, basically. So, we are on the learning curves, and we have learned more from this webinar, and I'm looking forward to attending such more webinars in the upcoming days for sure.
It is a great, I feel honored. Thank you so much. Because when it comes, I'm okay with the negative feedback also. I'll take it. Please, you can go ahead with it, because it's not always a win-win situation for us. It is a win-win for me, because if it is coming both the ways, I'm fine with it, because everyone has got a scope for improvement.
Thank you, ma'am, for a wonderful session for today's webinar. We have learned a lot of things in that, which we have not knowing in our mind, and we have got it down. Thank you very much, and we should wait for another such things upcoming days. if conduct like that with you. And we should get more and more knowledge with you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Once again, I should appreciate, ma'am, that you have conducted a wonderful session with us. And you have spent a lot of time with us with the session.
Pratibha ma'am, let's begin again. We have a lot of things to do now. Thank you so much. It's immense happiness you've given because of this, because even I'm a learner for life, and I have something here in the chat box. Okay, Dr. Shiv Gopal, thank you so much, sir. Can you please organize a session on formal and informal talking? Definitely, it is one of my favorite topics.
Sure, Mr. Gopal, we will take this topic up for the next coming up sessions. So we also understand that communication topics work very well, and also people need it. So we'll definitely go for this topic in the next sessions.